What's going on?
I've gone very well.
So you won't be ignored. You are affected.
We got about 5 minutes
So you
to
accept
go.
it.
I'm just watching the opening to the way of the guy. Because I like watching the show and get punched in the face. Everyone should.
I'm the only one who's left a piece of shit. And you're miraculously somehow we all seem to deal with it. Did anybody think that you were really seriously such a mess? In fact, I think that everybody thinks you're seriously full of shit. You don't mean it. You need a uniform, so you won't be ignored. You are affected, and so you're accepted. You think you're saying something relevant as you connect the dots. You never realize you have to get in line to suck a cock. You're telling me that 50 million screaming fans are never wrong. I'm telling you
You're
that 50
talking
million
about
screaming
you.
fans are fucking morons. You don't mean it. So accepted. Well, fucking who, you're not the only one who's left a piece of shit. And you're miraculously somehow we all seem to deal with it. Did anybody think that you were really seriously such a mess? In fact, I think that everybody thinks you're seriously full of shit. You think you're saying something relevant as you connect the dots. You never realize you have to get in line to suck a cock. You're telling me that 50 million screaming fans are never wrong. I'm telling you that 50 million screaming fans are fucking morons. You know you're not the only one who's left a piece of shit. And yet miraculously somehow we all seem to deal with it. Did anybody think that you were really seriously such a mess? In fact, I think that everybody thinks you're seriously full of shit. You think you're saying something relevant as you connect the dots. You never realize you have to get in line to suck a cock. You're telling me that 50 million screaming fans are never wrong. I'm telling you that 50 million screaming fans are fucking morons. You don't mean it. Hey, do what you want, but don't do it around me. Idleness, anticipation, breed apathy. I sit on my ass all goddamn day. A misanthropic employed with nothing to say. What you must do all you can. Break all the fucking rules and go to hell with Superman and die like a champion. Yeah, hey! Hey, I don't know if the billions will survive, but I'll believe in God when 1 and 1 are 5. My monitor is left and I'm rotten to the core. I'll tear down the buildings as you pass through the door. So do what you must, do all you can. Break all the fucking rules and go to hell with Superman and die like a champion. Yeah, hey!
Nobody move, nobody get hurt, they said. Make one wrong move, man, you wake up dead. I exercise my lyrical style instead. Otherwise you're dead and gone and forgotten, I said. Oh, are they gonna come back for you? Nah, all the story's sorry but true. Lord, if you really want them to go. Nah, oh, you're so goddamn cold. We're gonna make it on our own. We don't need anyone. Lord knows we don't need you. Yeah. We're gonna make it on our own. We don't need anyone. Lord knows we don't need you. Watch me now. with the rancid punks. This is for the misfits, the freaks, and the runts. Fuck the motherfucking backstabbing cunts. Odds get rough, so I know I better buckle. UNX tattooed on my knuckles. And then you make the shackles. 'Cause I am free. We're gonna make it on our own. We don't need anyone. Lord knows we don't need you. Yeah. We're gonna make it on our own. We don't need anyone. Lord knows we don't need you. Watch me now. We're gonna make it on our own. We don't need anyone. Lord knows we don't need you. Yeah. We're gonna make it on our own. We don't need anyone. Lord knows we don't need you. I want you losing your mind. Shit, I've been lost mine, but I still stay focused through good and bad times. Compare your worst fucking day to my best fucking night. Bet my last red cent that you couldn't stand the sight. From loss of loved ones to life of drug funds. They counted me out for what? I'm not done. Give me a chance to shine and I'ma blind the world. Take a stand and be the voice of those who cannot be heard. We're gonna make it on our own. We don't need anyone. Lord knows we don't need you. Yeah. We're gonna make it on our own. We don't need anyone. Lord knows we don't need you. Watch me now.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome to Rolling with Sisyphus. Tonight's guest, Kevin Logan. And of course, I'm Doc Griffin. Let us introduce our master of ceremonies, Sisyphus.
Hey, how's things going, guys? A lot of things have been going on in the news lately. That big NRA convention, and Alyssa Milano, she spoke. Weird thing is, speaking at an NRA convention, and then you want to have bodyguards with weapons. That's just kind of weird to me. It's just something I don't understand. You know, you want to combat the NRA, but yet you want bodyguards with weapons. Yeah, you can go ahead and give and take. Another thing that's been happening here lately is on the Kumite, everybody's been going after those the anime mafia. I don't know what to think of those guys. I don't know exactly what we want from them, but geez Louise, for somebody that doesn't want any attention at all, they're sure getting a lot of it. It cracks me up that everybody keeps saying, oh, fuck the anime mafia, oh, they're nobody, oh, don't listen to them. But yet, every time we sit there and hear about them, we just heard 3-hour stream. And the whole stream, nah, fuck the anime mafia, fuck the anime mafia. So, that's funny to me too. Also, spring has sprung. Spring has sprung. It's nice outside, and just to cap it all off, do you know that the Avengers, they got matching tattoos for spring break? I mean, for the Infinity Wars. And the only person that wasn't about that was Mark Ruffalo. Ain't that weird? Mark Ruffalo, the Hulk, the one that fucking makes his body different, was the only guy that wasn't about the tattoo. Maybe it had something to do with Panama City 2018 being the tattoo, you know, that he didn't want any part of it.
Well, once you get one tramp stamp, you really don't need another one.
So we're going to go ahead and give it to Doc Griffin for a second. Go ahead and shill everything we need to shill, and then we're going to talk to Kevin.
Well, the only thing that I feel excited about is they have announced, and this is official, that there will be a Bill and Ted 3. And it's going to be written by the same writers. It's going to be directed by the guy who directed Galaxy Quest. And apparently, it's going to focus something on blood pressure medication and depends. But I would like to make sure that everybody's watching, everybody that's listening knows that we are sponsored. Sponsored, not sponsored, by New Amsterdam Vodka. And tonight's vodka is peach, which I am mixing with fruit punch. So I'm calling it the Punchy Navel. So if you have your adult beverage ready, go ahead, take it down now.
That actually sounds pretty tasty.
Well, when you're an alcoholic, everything's tasty.
Ain't that truth? So we have in my opinion, the world's most, the internet's most renowned tough guy SJW, Kevin motherfucking Logan. How you doing, brother?
I'm very well. How are you guys?
Pretty well.
Getting liquored.
Fair enough. That's well, it's a Tuesday. What else are you gonna do?
Yep. Tuesday is the only no excuse day. Monday, you're hungover from the weekend. Wednesday's hump day, so you're halfway through. Thursday, you're looking forward to Friday. Friday is Friday, and then there's the weekend. There are no excuses for Tuesday.
Exactly.
So let's I'll go ahead and get into it. Let's talk about your latest video. I actually really liked it. And
right, the no platforming of the Muslim guy.
Yeah, no, maybe it was the video before that. I can't get a platform yet. I'm standing in the middle of London.
Oh yes, yeah.
Was that the video before? I'm sorry.
Yeah, the day before. No, that's fine. I only released the other one a few hours ago. Yeah, I put one out yesterday. It was about this thing, the Day for Freedom in London, where they had various speakers, including Sargon of Akkad, Count Dankula, Gavin McInnes, and a few others. Yeah, and they were all moaning about how they don't have free speech, even though they were saying it from a platform literally outside where the Prime Minister lives. And they weren't arrested. The fucking, they weren't put in a gulag. So maybe, just maybe, their paranoia isn't really justified.
So I'm American, so I have no clue. But let's go ahead and talk about the speech laws in England. Or Great Britain. Sorry, Great Britain. Do they have free speech?
Basically, yes. It's not as straightforwardly codified as it is in America with the First Amendment. Mm-hmm. But we do have certain hate speech laws, but they're really not applied that rigorously. You had the Count Dankula thing with the Nazi pug situation. But
Yeah.
he got fined £800, which is it's about what, $1,200 or something. So it's not a completely insignificant sum. But on the back of that, he raised like 180 grand for the appeal to that conviction. So if the worst that happens to you is you get fined 800 quid and then you earn 180 grand, or you get given 180 grand by your followers, that doesn't seem like that's too big a thing. When, like I say, a week later he was speaking on a platform in the centre of London, and he didn't get arrested or anything. So clearly it's not It's not some sort of totalitarian hellhole they like to make it out of it.
Yeah, I agree with that, but if he would have never got hit, he would have never made that money, correct?
True, and it's worth pointing out I don't support the conviction of
Yeah,
Dan.
I guess that's where I'll go with it. Do you think and Dan Key's just a fucking dirty goddamn Brit to me. I don't, he just, gosh, he is exactly what I imagine a shithead to be.
He's not British, he's Scottish.
Even worse. Even fucking worse. But whenever you just type shithead into Google, you'll get his face, because he really is that guy. He's got two fucking things on his lips. He's got the fucking floppy ears, and he's bitching about how he can't express himself enough. That to me, it's just, and I like Dank. He's an alright cat, but I'm just old school with it, to where it's like, dude, you've done expressed yourself enough. To try to say that you're not getting to express yourself is silly.
Yeah, it's I have my issues with the guy actually. I had it out with him earlier on Twitter because he tried to get Antifa or Antifa, however you pronounce it, to become a proscribed terrorist group in Britain. He started like a petition to the government. But at the event itself, this Day for Freedom on Sunday, there was a group called the FLA, which is the Football Lads Association, which is kind of a right-wing equivalent of Antifa, I suppose. And they turned up and beat up these two Muslim guys and chased them away. Now, regardless of what you like or you think of what those people had to say, they weren't violent, so why would they physically attacking them? And I said, well, I presume you're intellectually honest enough that you're going to start a petition to get those guys labelled a terrorist group. And he just gave me a mealy-mouthed response, which shows to me that he's an intellectual fraud, basically.
Well, yeah, but when it comes to soccer thugs, there's always going to be those idiots that are on the fringe, regardless if someone has a left or a right-leaning opinion. There's always going to be those idiots that, the bad apple spoils the bunch.
Yeah, but this isn't the individual teams' fan bases. This is a specific group away from that, called the Football Lads Association, which is all different fans of different clubs that join together. And in theory, it's supposed to be like an anti-extremism group, but actually it's just a right-wing hate group, basically, who go around screaming at Muslims that they don't like. Which, like I say, I don't care what people think of Islam particularly. I'm not a massive fan. But you can't go around abusing people like that. That's not acceptable.
But in your train of thought, and I definitely want to go back a little bit, because I know we started right at the present, but you as a kid, was there some type of crystallizing moment? Was there some type of education that started your train of thought, that started you on the path that you're on now as far as your political and or religious beliefs?
That's a very good question.
Oh no, I've changed vastly since I was a kid. Growing up, I was a Bible-believing Catholic. I was actually an altar server at my local Catholic church as a child. And thankfully I didn't get raped by a priest, which was pleasant. So I've changed enormously since then. I'm now an atheist. I don't know if that necessarily had any impact on my politics. The largest impact was my involvement with trade unionism and getting into the left through that, really. But,
but have you ever really talked about what was the catalyst where you decided, Catholicism is not for me, and it's time to find something where not necessarily find belief, but find faith in humanity, or in basically your path to where you are?
So, firstly, I don't particularly have a great deal of faith in humanity, to be honest. I'm quite nihilistic in many ways, but to the point that I do have faith in humanity, or I do have some sort of hope. I've talked in the past about it, in Hangouts rather than doing a specific video on it, because I think we've all seen 1,000,001 sort of deconversion videos, as it were, where people tell you how they became an atheist. And mine is not vastly different to many others, I think. Basically, as a kid, I was down with the idea that bad people got sent to hell for like so Hitler gets sent to hell or whatever. And then they started saying like, well, maybe if you don't go to church regularly, you might not go to heaven. So I thought, even as a kid, that seemed wrong. I was like, what? You get the same punishment as Hitler for not going to church or whatever, or not following the Ten Commandments, which is just like not honoring your mother and your father. Like what? That's ridiculous. Anyway, so I decided to read the Bible, and I realised it was absolutely appalling. It calls for the murder of people and stuff. I mean, just God in the Bible is a fucking prick. Like, I'm not following that dude. I don't care even if he is real. And then eventually I sort of grew up and I realised actually it's just these churches, these mosques, these synagogues are just there to control people. There's no fucking God going on here. This is all about power in the here and now. So that's how I got to that, really. Over the course of maybe 5 or 6 years in my early teens to mid-teens, I sort of just let go of the vestiges of that religion. Yeah, and I don't. Did that have? I'm not sure that had a massive impact on my politics, to be honest. Yeah, it was just a kind of byproduct of growing up and being a curious person who wasn't going to just accept what I was told.
Well, but now I do realize that people disassociate from religion. I'm one of those people myself, but I do have to put faith in something, not necessarily, the spaghetti monster in the sky. What gives you faith? What basically reimburses your belief that you can be a positive person, that you can push forward and do something that is over and above just existing?
I don't know really. What gives me hope? Well, I've seen people act in amazing ways that I can't imagine having done, achieved incredible things, and behaved in ways that I think are far more humane and decent than I'm even really capable of. And so I know that it's within humanity to be better than it is. I don't have any faith that they're going to be, by and large, because the history tells you that they're not. But essentially, I know they can be, and so basically, in order to placate the demons in my head, really, I have to try and act in a way that is in accordance with my beliefs and I think is positive. Otherwise, I just can't get to sleep at night. Like it would torment me to think that I was an evil person. So I don't know. It's just, in a way, it's sort of selfish in the sense that I just want an easy life, or I just want peace of mind, and so I have to act in a way that I think is doing some positives, doing some good.
So do you
Really
have a belief that...
I'd love to give you a really pinpoint answer and give you the psychological reasons behind it, but I really don't know beside that, to be honest.
So do you have a belief that humans are potentially good?
Oh yeah, absolutely. But I've seen it. You can name any number of examples of great people doing great things. And behaving with incredible humanity and forgiveness and compassion and charity and all of those great things. It's just that those are the exceptions rather than the rule, and so I find it difficult. Like I have faith that they can be better, but I don't have faith that they will be.
And of course, I'm sure you've got a couple of these stored away. Can you give one example where you've seen this happen that helps to reinforce your belief in the goodness of humanity?
Yeah, one example, which is a slightly strange one. There was the Omar bombing in the late 90s in Ireland, and there was a guy whose son had been killed, and he'd literally had, his son had been in his arms dying, and at the I think it was the inquest or whatever, he was asked how he felt about the people who perpetrated this, and he said, well, what's happened cannot be changed. I will act in accordance with my beliefs, and I can do nothing but forgive. Now, that might seem strange but I know that in my mind I couldn't forgive them. I'd want to kill them. I'd want to murder them for the crimes they committed against my family. But he showed an almost, dare I say, Christ-like level of forgiveness, that he understood the wider context of this and that being hateful wasn't going to help the situation. And that's on a different plane. I can't imagine that. I can't imagine getting inside that mental space. But the fact that that is possible, and the fact that there are several examples of it, shows that it is possible for humans to behave in that way. Now, I'm not saying that's even necessarily always a good thing, because just being forgiving for the sake of forgiveness isn't always positive. But trying to do something greater than just put more hate into the world is possible.
So
That's exactly where I like to believe in, is the least amount of hate you can bring in the world is your best off. It don't matter what you believe in. Is if you're not trying to just blow people up, then it's best off.
So, do you think that Christ was autistic?
No, knock it off, dick.
Well, I'm not entirely sure if he existed, so I'll say no.
Do you? We'll go ahead and be the dickhead and say, is Christ real? Do you believe that Christ was somebody?
There's very possibly a Jesus of Nazareth character, but Christ didn't exist, I don't think.
Yeah, I think he spent a lot of time, just like Buddha did, saying, I'm not a god, but I pretty much figured it out. I'll go ahead and share my thoughts with you. And, they just nailed him up.
Yeah, I mean, that's ultimately it's not to compare, and I hope Christians aren't offended here, but not to compare Martin Luther King with the person they think is the son of God. But the same thing applies in as much as a certain man of wisdom with positive teachings for mankind was a threat to the authorities, and he was murdered for it. If you're good in this world, you tend to attract the animus of some very evil people.
True. And when did your actual transition from religion to atheism happen? Around what age?
Well, it started probably about when I was 12, 13-ish, really. I mean, I had my questions before then, but I was so utterly convinced that Jesus was like my best friend that I just went with it. But probably about 12 to 13, for about 5 or 6 years, like I said, I read through the Bible and I looked at the way in which religious people in the world acted and came to the conclusion that it was all bollocks. So it was, like I say, so my teen years, which is really annoying because when you're a young man going through that time, the chemicals running through your body are mental enough as it is. So to have your whole world view completely changed and ripped away from you is not pleasant. That could have gone really badly. It could have gone off the rails there, but.
Well, and one of the big things that that I've seen to people making the change from organized religion to subjective thought, there usually comes a point to where you find some type of conflict with the religion that you're in. Did that ever come upon you?
Yeah, absolutely. Several times. Again, having mentioned the hormonal issues of teenage boys, you become rather a regular, masturbator in your teenage years. And I was told by the Catholic Church that this was essentially akin to murder. Your wastage of sperm was akin to. Indeed.
Oh my God! Then I'm a serial killer.
Exactly. Well, I like to think. Yeah. Exactly. In my teenage years, I committed what can only be described as the greatest spree of masturbatory genocide ever. It was quite something. Well, exactly. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Well, exactly.
By the way,
Well, the Irish, if the Irish are known for one thing, it's that there aren't, it's not that they don't read enough. Do you know what I mean? One or two fewer isn't going to make much fucking difference. They've occupied all. Well, yeah, absolutely. Exactly. Yeah, absolutely.
well,
Uh,
let's put it this way. When I was a kid, I was raised in a Pentecostal apostolic church, and some of the rules were that women couldn't cut their hair, they couldn't wear red because it was the symbol of the devil. And that was pretty much my start to going, wait a minute, I'm not real sure about this.
yeah. Well, that's doubly stupid because red clothing for women can be helpful in hiding period stains. So, I mean, it's just in terms of sartorial convenience, they've wasted an opportunity there. Stupid.
Well, they encourage them more to wear black and dark grays. So
Fair enough. Actually, no,
now,
not fair enough.
now,
Fucking
now,
disgusting. Trying to
I
police people in that way is fucking evil. One of the reasons that I can't vibe with religion. It's like I say,
now,
it's not about eternal power. It's about power in the here and now.
well, it's about other humans controlling other humans.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Through fear, and I mean, because I can't tell you how many fire and brimstone sermons that I had sat through. But let's talk a little bit about how you started getting politically active. What was the first thing that you said? Well, I have to get involved. I have to have my voice heard.
By the way, Kevin, this is really a good opportunity for your fans to hear questions, and none of your fans are here. I mean, I'm not trying to be a jerk about it, but this is the opportunity where your fans get to hear questions that they didn't necessarily get to hear.
Okay, so, well, I'll post it out on Twitter again.
It's not. We're not. No. I understand where you're coming from about the whole, especially within the last couple of weeks where you've been ambushed. I want to say 3 times.
I've lost track, man. I don't know how many times.
Yeah. You've been ambushed here in the last couple of weeks a few times, and I understand with the people that I run with where you would think it was an ambush, but that's not. It's not what we're about.
I'll put it out on Twitter, and we'll see if some people turn up. But I can't make them come here, if that makes sense.
No. I just want questions from your fan base, I guess is the way it was.
Oh right. Well, I don't know. Maybe some of them will turn up. I've totally forgotten what the question was. What was I forgot the guy's name.
What was the catalyst for you? The very first thing that you ever got politically active with?
Well, probably the Iraq War. I would say was probably the first thing I got particularly involved in. When I was that would have been 2002, so or 2003. So I'd have been 15, 16. Yeah, that was the first sort of big thing I got involved with. But then once I got sort of into the workforce, I became a trade unionist, and that became a kind of catalyst or whatever, I suppose, as well.
Well, what was that actual moment? What about the war in Iraq set you off?
Well, it was the lies, the blatant and obvious lies that were being told. Not just the weapons of mass destruction, but the fact that they were happy to put out incredibly dodgy information, and the fact that it was so obvious that they just wanted this war. It didn't matter what they would say anything they could to get the war they wanted, and that didn't vibe with me. I like war. I'm not a pacifist by any stretch of the imagination, but if you're going to go to war, you have to do it properly. You have to actually have good reasons and good sound evidence, and a fucking exit strategy. You can't just be an eternal war, you know.
Yeah,
did you physically go out and protest?
Yeah, I went out and protested.
Okay. Then I have to ask this: what was on the first placard that you ever held up?
Oh fuck, I can't remember. It was probably something like "Don't attack Iraq" or something like that. But I can't remember.
Hell yeah.
but I can't remember the specifics of it.
So, the British, they were all up in northern Iraq. They're the Mosul,
Yeah,
which was actually the toughest fighting.
yeah, a lot of considering the percentage of people we had there, a lot of deaths and injuries and stuff. Yeah, very unpleasant.
Yeah, I hate using the word. I always say it wrong, but Mosul or whatever.
Yeah.
The British straight headed that up. I mean, they took on the northern front, and
And that's what made the ISIS taking control of that area so painful for Britain as a nation that we'd spilt a lot of blood trying to settle that situation down, and then ISIS just came and take over, and you think, well, that's ridiculous. That's what did we even bother for? They're in a much worse place than they were if we'd never gone there.
oh yeah, exactly. What do you think of the Kurds? Yeah, I mean, just
I think the world owes the Kurds a debt of gratitude that they will never ever admit, unfortunately, and that until relatively recently, the only thing holding ISIS back from taking over northern Iraq and the whole of Syria were the Kurdish YPG and Peshmerga.
correct.
They were the only forces actually stopping that. Whether you like their politics or not, whether you think that their involvement in Turkey and the civil war going on in southern Turkey, whether you agree with the particular tactics involved, the fact is the only thing stopping barbarity from being the absolute rule of that region was the Kurds. Until obviously the Russians stepped in and propped up Assad, and America and Britain have been bombing a little bit as well. But up until then, it was just the Kurds holding them back, and they did so incredibly bravely.
Oh fuck yeah, they were the Kurds. In my opinion, the way the Levant was divided up was completely irrational and just based off of greed. And the Kurdish got fucked. The Kurdish population got completely fucked by the initial separation. After the Ottoman fell.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. The Kurdish people, I should say, are in an almost unparalleled position in the world in that there are people without a nation, which is not unique, but there are people without a nation spread across like 5 different nations. So it would be it's not just that they would have to fight or negotiate with one government to get their country. They'd have to do so with virtually an entire region, all made up of countries who despise one another.
Yep.
So it would be basically impossible for them to get any peaceable solution to that problem.
Oh, and why would Turkey give up some of their land, and why would Iraq give up some? It's like no country ever was like, yeah, sure, I'll give up some of my territory, no problem. So it just the whole idea of the way the lines were drawn back in the day.
Well, it's not just that; it's the fact that the lines weren't drawn at all. Because that's the thing. People seem to think that you just draw a line on a map and that means something. These people live in like large ethnic groups and tribes and stuff that span those territories, and they're not just going to fucking move because you've drawn a line through a desert.
Oh
That's
no,
their land. It's ridiculous to think that. But the people of that northern territory are now in Iraq, and the other ones in Syria, and the other ones in Turkey. No, they're not going to fucking.
yeah, they don't actually. I really don't think they think to themselves. What was the whole? I can't remember the movie, but where the guy's sitting there jumping, going, "I'm in America." It was a Simpson episode where he's sitting there jumping back and forth. I'm in America. I'm in Australia. I'm in America. I'm in Australia. I'm in America. I'm in Australia. And then whenever he jumps back to America, the Marine punches him in the face. He goes, "We don't put up with that shit in America." Well, he didn't. He didn't say shit, but what I mean. That's kind of where the Kurdish are. I mean, they're actually in that whole Levant area. There's a lot of people that's like, dude, I don't give a fuck where your borders are. My people have been living here for hundreds and hundreds of years. And yeah, half of us are in Syria and half of us are in Turkey, but all of our politics align.
Yeah, exactly. You're not going to change that kind of deeply entrenched tribalism, and that's Iraq isn't really a country. It never has been.
No,
You've got-
most
you've
certainly
got,
not. Not since the fucking Seljuk Turks. You know, I mean, not since like 1100.
Exactly. You've got very few people you would ever meet would describe themselves as Iraqi. I mean, they might legally be that, and they might have to put that on a form or whatever.
I don't know anybody. I mean, honestly, yeah, they say they're Persian, or they go by their religious affiliation. If
they'll say like a Sunni or Shia or Kurd or whatever.
They go by their religious affiliation. Yeah, you're 100% right on that.
Yeah, so trying to stick that together as one country is never going to work. But then letting them separate into 3 countries probably just means you're going to have internecine war. So I mean, it's impossible. It's sort of impossible to have an absolutely peaceful Middle East while we keep fucking meddling with it. Maybe it's impossible to stop, but I don't see that what we're doing there is actually helping by and large.
Yeah, there's no answer. I mean, honestly.
Yeah.
If anybody says they have a fucking answer, they're lying. Well,
exactly. Yeah. That's exactly right. Whenever anyone offers you that kind of clean cut, easy answer to something like that, they're trying to sell you a line. They're trying to feed you something. Don't listen to them. They're fucking frauds.
All right, so I'm going to go ahead and get into what I wanted to talk to you about. We're going to get away from the fucking nonsense of the American sports. Which one was the first one you decided to buy a jersey for? You know, be part of?
The NBA. I was
NBA.
Yeah, the National Basketball Association. Yes, a huge Boston Celtics fan, and I chose that team arbitrarily at first, really, because Paul Pierce, who's now retired, of course, was like the only good player on that team, and I felt really bad for them. So I just thought I'd stick with him.
You sound like my fucking wife. She is a follower of the Cleveland Browns, just for the reason that she said this is her exact reasoning is if enough people will like them, then they'll be good. Word for word.
Bless. That is the sweetest reason and the most wrong reason I've ever heard for it. Oh, that team's gonna suck forever.
Well, oh man, and then they picked up Potato Head. What the fuck's his name?
Johnny Football.
Their first pick, Baker Mayfield, Potato Head. That's what I call him. He's a big old fucking potato head. He ain't worth a shit. They pick up fucking Baker Mayfield with the 4th pick. They could have picked up Shaquan Barkley, who's like the #1 fucking running back, but they pick up an Ohio or an Oklahoma University fucking quarterback who ran 65% of his plays. It is.
Yeah, that's not.
Running quarterbacks do not do well in the NFL unless they're fucking 250 pounds.
Yeah, exactly. We've seen that with. RG3 could have been a really exceptional quarterback if they just allowed him to. If they just kept him fucking still. And they even had him out wide as a receiver for a few plays. And he got annihilated.
I'll tell you what. I see RG3. If I'm sitting there as a cornerback, I'm sitting there as a free safety. I'm sitting there as a free safety, and I see the quarterback sitting there over in the fucking corner. Dude, you better believe it. I'm going to pound that motherfucker just to say, you ain't allowed to stand on my line. You're a quarterback. You're not allowed to stand on my fucking line.
Exactly. That is provocation. Frankly, you should be able to go up and just fucking knock him out. Frankly, that's like a slap in the face.
Yeah, exactly.
Not getting fucking hospitalized, mate. That's what's happening there.
Oh, man.
Drew Brees has a Super Bowl ring, and he's, what, 5'11"?
Yeah.
Drew Brees, you will never see. Actually, here's what it comes down. Drew Brees will pass first. That's the big thing. With these running quarterbacks, and this is my it's not my opinion. It's the fucking truth. With the running quarterbacks, is you just get too much. You get hit too. Even Luck, who I'm an Indiana guy. Andrew Luck's the fucking man, but that guy right there was built for the NFL. But because the they wouldn't build a team around him. They just wanted to sit there and just pick nonsense players, pick fucking safeties, pick outside linebackers, because the Colts have always been so bad at defense that they really want to hit hard on defense. And Andrew Luck ended up with a fucking spleen, or no, his lacerated fucking kidney. A lacerated kidney. Now, what type of quarterback ends up with lacerated kidney? You got to be hitting. You got to be being hit from behind.
That's the thing. When you stay in the pocket, you get ridiculous. I think too much protection, frankly, from the pass rush under the rules. But that means that if you keep them in the pocket, they're not going to get smashed to pieces. They're just not, and you're going to have a healthier quarterback who can actually throw.
And that's where Andrew Luck kind of messed up, because you got about 3.5 seconds. You got about three seconds to fucking get rid of that ball. And Andrew Luck, on his first 4 years before he really got hurt, he was about half a second late on all his throws. And yeah, I mean, if you remember, fucking the Colts were badass right after. They just tore it up. But he was just a tough guy. I hate using the word tough guy, but he would sit in that pocket just a hair longer and then get smashed.
Yeah.
And he's such a big guy that he could take it, but I really don't know if Andrew Luck's going to come back. I don't know.
That's not sustainable in the long run.
Dude, the Colts haven't been good since Unitas. Just pass. Go on about it.
Fuck you. Peyton Manning, 2008. No. Fuck you, Doc. You go ahead and sit in your... I don't even want to dox you, but fuck you.
We beat them. We beat them in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, exactly.
No, Bengals never been to the Super Bowl.
I'm not a Bengals fan. I'm a Saints fan.
Okay. So what you're trying to say is the Saints... Wait, no, the Saints didn't beat them.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, they did. My bad.
Yeah,
I was thinking of the year before. That was the whole kickoff, and they fucking ran the kickoff on the yeah. They did beat them.
Yes, they did. And why are we going so esoteric on this? I would like to get back and pick Kevin's brain a little bit more here. What are we talking about sports for?
Because that's what he never gets talked about, and he is. If you look at his tweets, he is a sports fan. He loves the sports. So I'm gonna go ahead and go. I'm gonna go ahead and keep the sports. Fuck Doc Griffin. Are you completely New England? I mean,
Yeah, absolutely.
Seriously?
I started off with the Celtics, and I just thought, well, I have to stick with like a kind of a region or a city or whatever.
Might as well run with it. All right, fair enough. Even though, like, in a way, you liking them is kind of a fuck you to your country.
A little bit.
All right. If you want to go down this rabbit hole, what's your thoughts about Belichick throwing the Super Bowl by sidelining Butler?
He did not throw the Super Bowl.
That is ridiculous. A ridiculous accusation. Bill Belichick is one of the greatest coaches in the history of the game,
if not the greatest coach.
Yeah.
And I hate him so fucking much.
David Kraft made him keep Brady, and he wanted to stay with Garoppolo and trade Brady out. And Brady went to Kraft and said, "I don't want to be traded."
That wasn't what happened. He didn't say he wanted. There was no trade involved. The whole thing was next year they wanted to get Garoppolo actually in. They wanted to actually make it a competition.
Yeah, which made sense given the fact that Brady was struggling at the time, and Garoppolo will be a good quarterback in this league. I've no doubt about that.
Yeah, but they deuced Garoppolo, and
they did
pushed him off to San Francisco, and Belichick traded to because normally when you trade out a quarterback, you want to trade him to a shitty team. Well, San Francisco was rebuilding at that point, and that was the perfect fit, and all they got was a second-round draft choice for him.
That's okay. You were realistically never going to get a first for the guy, I don't think. You might have done, I suppose, but I don't think you're going to get a good first for him. Whereas we got a good second. That's okay. That's not bad for a guy who's won like 2 games in the NFL.
He played 5, but here we go, Doc. What was Tom? And here I am fucking sucking New England dick. But when was Tom Brady drafted?
99.
He was like the 5th round. You know,
he was 199th pick.
Yeah, you cannot go off of what pick the New England Patriots make as something important.
Well, not just that, but people forget that, you know, like we got Gronkowski in the middle of the 2nd round, and that guy's, you know, Hall of Fame numbers.
Well, and think about how quickly Bledsoe got pushed out.
Yeah.
Once he came in.
Yeah.
Well, what happened is Bledsoe went down. He had an ankle injury. He was down for 3 games.
Bear in mind, he just won the MVP as a 40-year-old.
Well, and Garoppolo was 3-1 when Brady was serving his suspension. Yeah. So he proved himself.
Well, I don't think you could say he proved himself. He proved he can play, but proved himself as in he's good enough to take over from a guaranteed Hall of Famer who's got 4 Super Bowl rings.
Who has probably the hottest wife in NFL, who has, I mean, like if you, I hate Tom Brady so fucking much.
He seems genuinely happy and has like the best life.
Exactly. Ever. It's like, it's kind of like the Mormons with me. It's like, how can you be mad at these motherfuckers? You know what they believe in is bullshit, but yet they just embrace it and they're so fucking happy. How can you be mad at them for it? You know what I mean?
You know, with this conversation, I'm definitely not going to be able to drunk enough to keep up with it.
That's the thing. That's one of the reasons I'm so glad that it was, like I say, completely arbitrary that I chose the Celtics and then obviously Boston more widely. But the success they've had in the time I've been there, we hadn't won a fucking World Series in fucking decades. It was fucking 80 years or whatever. And we've won 3 since. We've won 4 Super Bowls. We've won a Stanley Cup. We've won an NBA title. Yeah, it's been fucking mad, been wild. And you can tell that they're a good series of franchises because everyone despises them.
Oh, there's no joke about it. And that's something that I've always said is I'm a Miami Dolphins fan. And it's back in the day it was cool, but it's one of them things that I would always say. I was like, okay, so if you're in Miami and you lose the game, you're gonna go to the club and people are gonna be all on you. You're in fucking New England and you drop that motherfucking ball, you better not go into that club. Because there'll be 3 or 4 guys going, "Why'd you drop that ball?" It's just a different atmosphere. It's a different city. Miami is not a good sports city. There's just too much to do outside of the sports. While with New England and Boston and all that shit, every single thing you sneeze, it's in the papers. It's like, if you are not doing good, you are going to hear about it. So I think that cultivates a good system, especially since Belichick is such a hard ass about, if you break the rules, you're hit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. He doesn't respect, or doesn't say, oh, because of your X, Y, and Z experience or whatever. If you go in there and you start fucking around, he'll bench you.
Except for Gronkowski. For some reason, maybe because he's white, I don't know, but Gronkowski gets caught with all those fucking pictures and all that bullshit, and they don't. But he's never actually done anything wrong.
That doesn't really stop him from doing his job. Like he's all business when he gets there. Like he does the job. Like he doesn't fuck around on the field.
Yeah, you're right. You're right too.
Sisyphus, I only have a pint, and you're getting me dangerously to the end of it.
Oh, God damn it. Well, so how did you end up being a Saints fan in what presumably...
Oh, God.
Bible Belt. We'll just call it Bible Belt.
Yeah. 1980. I was bitching about the team that I liked at that point. And somebody said, oh, well, you wanna watch a team that really sucks. Watch the Saints.
Oh, shit. Archie Griffin.
Well, that's when the Saints ended up being 1 in 15, and ever since then I was like, God damn, they got to get better.
Ironically, still better than the Browns.
Oh, I'm no, even though I am geographically close to both the Browns and the Bengals, they can lick my sweet testicles because I couldn't give a shit about either one of them.
Oh, Cleveland. I mean, wow.
Now I will tell you this story. I have seen the Saints play in 9 different stadiums. I've never seen them play at home. One year, my first wife got me tickets, and we went up to watch the Saints play the Browns. Her tickets were so good, we were right next to the dog pound.
Hell yeah.
I was decked out in my black and gold, and they gave me shit the whole time. We were winning the game. We were 10 seconds away from locking it down, and Ned Brown fumbled on the 1 foot line, and we lost the game. Now, that's not the worst stadium that I was ever in. The worst stadium ever is Philadelphia Stadium. War Memorial. Those guys were throwing batteries. I had a gun and a knife pulled on me.
Jesus fucking Christ.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, wow.
So, you know, freedom of expression. And we won, and I ran the fuck out of that stadium afterwards.
Yeah, that's probably why. Yeah, Philadelphia is kind of known for that, isn't it? The when the Penguins have Flyers have done badly. Some of the abuse they've given their players has been, like you say, they would literally throw like batteries and stones and shit at them. Like that's mad. That's fucking mad.
Well, and it's
you're gonna talk about mad. Let's talk about those fucking soccer hooligans. You want to talk?
Oh yeah, those fuckers are crazy, man. Yeah, I've seen snooker balls get thrown at people, stuff like crazy shit. Like, there used to be a team called Wimbledon who they've sort of folded. It's complicated anyway. And their fans were well known for it. They used to have a thing called the Wimbledon. Was it the Wimbledon handshake or something? Where they'd get 2 razor blades, put a piece of cardboard between them and sellotape it together so that when they cut you with it, the 2 slices were too near to one another for them to stitch it up properly. So you'd lose a hell of a lot of blood, and they'd essentially have to sew 2 disparate pieces of skin together. So essentially they'd have to lock up a huge chunk of your leg or something in order to actually stem the blood, which is nice. Yeah, some crazy shit went down, but it's not as bad as that anymore. Actually, to be honest, it's pretty calm. Like they meet up away from the stadiums now, and just kick shit out of each other, and that's fine. I got no problem with that. It's when innocent bystanders getting mixed up in it, which is wrong. But if people want to meet up away from the ground and kill each other, I don't fucking care.
You know what's funny is they talk about like this shit's new, but if you look in back whenever Alexis Comnenus was the head of the Byzantine Empire, he almost got outed because of a match between the red and the greens, and it caused a fucking big old riot. And if it wasn't for his wife, he would have fled. You know what I mean? So it's not something that sports are fucking awesome.
The sports are awesome, and they've taken, I think, they've taken humanity in a good step forward, because that tribalism and that primal urge of my people versus your people is always going to be a part of what humanity is.
It has to be.
And if we can do that in a way that you get the odd violent flare, but largely it's just, cheering for your team over some other team, and then everyone goes home in peace rather than going to war every 5 minutes. That's a good thing. That's a step forward. And it's always been, to a degree, the spectacle. It's always been there, because, they used to throw Christians to lions and shit in ancient Rome. So the idea that this kind of, and they still have, like, bullfighting, like literally like bull murder, basically. That kind of primal thing is always going to be there. And so I'd rather have it be like boxing or something, where if 2 guys want to step into a ring and beat the shit out of each other and people watch, okay. that's a much preferable scenario.
Yeah, I mean, in ancient times, you know, the best fighter would go up against the fighter, or go up against the other best fighter in some instances, you know, and that's the way the whole battle would be decided, just between a one-on-one match. You know, they'd have 5,000 people on one side and 5,000 people on another side, and one person versus one person would decide the whole battle. Right? So, yeah, I think that tribalism is a good thing, but at the same time, I don't know. Everything's a good thing, but you get too involved in it, it's a bad thing.
It's like any other strong human emotion. It has the power to be potentially enormously beneficial in the sense that it's aided survival. It's aided people wanting to progress and to become safer and to have better food supply and to have more stable governance and all the rest of it. Right? There are huge benefits potentially, but obviously, like any other primeval human emotion or human way of organizing, there's always going to be negatives to it, and you can get like hyper nationalism or just airing out fucking racism, where you say, well, you've got a different color of skin to me, therefore you're evil or you're bad or whatever, and it's all bullshit. But it's a matter of trying to curb the bad whilst staying with the good, which is sort of one of the core battles of life, isn't it? It's trying to balance out the yin and yang.
So if we're talking about this, is it possible, is it feasible for nationalism without racism to exist?
I am a firm believer in the civic nationalist idea, being from America, but in America it's a little different because we were forced that way. You know, we were forced. Actually, yeah, I wasn't forced, but
America's a really individual instance where you've got people in the obviously the people who are largely in control are white people who don't have the same ethnic heritage claim to the land that, say, white people in Europe have, because obviously you know from your recent history that your land was stolen from the red people.
It was not stolen. Do you really consider it stolen? I mean, honestly, Kevin, do you consider it stolen, or do you consider it fighting 150 years for domination?
No. When I say stolen, I mean that it wasn't yours and now it is, and you didn't come by that peaceably.
No, we did not come by it peacefully. I will agree with that, but we didn't steal anything. Like we didn't just go and just take it. You know, it was a 150-year war. I mean, you know, we fought.
No. Well, agreements were reached with tribal people and then were gone back on when it was convenient.
Yeah, the same. No. I really hate to do this to you, but the same thing happened. The same thing happened with the Sioux. The same thing happened with the Iroquois, where things are. It comes mostly, in my opinion, between two ideas of what ownership is.
Okay. What I'll say is let's put that debate on ice, because that really wasn't the point I was trying to make. So let's just say we agree to disagree on the exact terminology. But let's just say you don't have the same absolute ethnic claim to the land that white people in Europe have, because you know that it wasn't always yours.
Fair enough. Like, I can roll with that. I can roll with that.
And that's my whole point, is that in Europe it seems the lines of nationality are completely blurred and muddied by ethnocentrism.
Yeah, I think there's a certain truth to that. And of course, one of the problems I have with the white nationalists is that they don't take into account the fact that there is no European that considers themselves a homogenous European. There's no white person in Europe that sees themselves as homogeneously white with any other white person. You see yourself as an Englishman or a Frenchman or a German or an Austrian or whatever.
Yep. Okay. I was kind of going away from where you went on that, but once you finished up, you were right. I mean, it's not like, hey, we're white. No, we're Austrian. Yeah.
Exactly. An English person would never consider themselves exactly the same as a Slav or an Italian or Frenchman or something. It's ridiculous.
And I'll be honest with you, I'm having a lot of difficulty wrapping my mind around all the things that are happening in Great Britain with the you have an obviously Muslim mayor that is trying to bend the curve to support what his beliefs are, and it does not look like he's taking a stand for everybody.
And why do you say that? Because I don't see what Sadiq Khan is doing as particularly trying to bend anything. He was elected by a largely white, largely British electorate in London. I don't see that what he's done, either in terms of his policy or his practical implementation, has benefited any one group over any other group.
Well, my whole thing with Khan is the fact that it seems like he's turning a blind eye, specifically saying with the rape gangs, with the acid attacks, that just frightens the shit out of me, that there's somebody who just opened the gate and are letting the horses out.
Well, in terms of acid attacks, that's not a Muslim thing. That's a misconception. That's not even a racial or religious matter. That's largely the acid attacks are thefts, usually of motorcycles. They throw the acid into the face of the person and then steal their motorbike. That's what's happening there. It's not a religious thing.
Is it a theft thing? Like people just want to steal shit, so they throw acid in your face?
Yeah, it's they're thefts that are taking place. Yeah.
Well, yeah, I know the most recent person who was arrested for it was black.
Yeah, which means he could be Muslim or he could be just, Afro-Caribbean, as they're called here.
Yeah, that's why I'm not assigning a religion to them.
Well, no, the reason I act or I respond in that way is because you mentioned the fact that he's a Muslim mayor. So I presume what you're suggesting, and by all means, if I'm wrong, say so. What you're suggesting is that he's acting on behalf of largely of Muslims rather than of the rest of the population.
I am suggesting that he has blinders.
Okay, well, that even if that is the case, you can't really add in the acid attacks because, like I say, there have been people, white people, brown people, black people, Muslims, Christians, Hindus, all sorts of people have been convicted of that. It's not a religious or racial matter. It's a matter of theft, which isn't actually his within his purview, policing, really, because that's dealt with by the Metropolitan Police Service.
I'm saying it's more adapted tactics, because it's just like how in the ghetto that I live in, we have a lot of Wiggers,
right?
That they speak ethnically black and they dress black. They picked it up from somewhere, and you can't really say that they did not pick it up from that urban type culture.
Right. Well, you'd have to show me where Muslims have, like, I don't know what, taught the non-Muslim people to do this, because I don't see that connection. Like I say, it's these matters of thefts. And by the way, I'm not trying to excuse that away and say that it's okay. These people need to be caught and put in prison for a very long time. It's fucking evil what's taking place there. I'm just making the point that it's not a religious or racial matter. So even if Sadiq Khan is a fucking ISIS supporting commie piece of shit, which he isn't, but even if he were, these acid attacks aren't anything to do with that.
Well, and educate me on this. As far as Great Britain goes, as far as the UK goes, how many people have been slammed with basically hate laws?
I don't know the number off the top of my head. It's probably, I don't know.
No, you don't have to know the number. I'm not trying to corner you. This is
no, that's fine. Trust me, I'm absolutely fine with that. I think it's a few hundred rather than like, it's not millions or anything silly. It's a few hundred people. Yeah.
Because I'm just paranoid about how there is an incredible double standard, not only in Europe, but there is a double standard here in the U.S. as well, as far as I mean, just like the poor guy who got fired from Google, who was just stating factual evidence, and they kicked him out just because of the fact that he stated this opposing viewpoint that didn't match with what we colloquially call the SJW train of thought.
Okay, but that's not a matter of freedom of expression. That's a matter of employment rights. If he has a case, he can take it to a tribunal if he thinks it's unfair dismissal. But that's not a matter of freedom of speech.
Well, no, there is a lawsuit going on with this.
Okay, well we'll have to wait and see what the response to that is, and whether he can get some sort of payment or even a reinstatement if that's what he wants, whatever. But ultimately, it's not a matter of freedom of speech. That's nothing to do with it.
Yeah, but my whole thing is, if you're doing this correctly, there should have never been an issue in the first place. And there were people inside Google who were saying, you have to fire this guy because he's doing the white male cisgendered thing. And I mean, there are documents upon documents with the internal emails that shows that these people were out for him just because he stated an opinion. Okay, and that's where I'm so paranoid about the European countries, is that they're already far past this.
Well, yes and no. You don't need to feel remotely worried about any of this, because trust me, I've lived in Britain my entire life. I've got lots of friends on the continent. We really don't live in some sort of totalitarian hellhole. You might not like some of the things that go on, but trust me, we look at America and see lots of things going on that we don't like, and you can still accept that it's a free society. Just because you don't necessarily like this law or that law, or you don't like the way the police act in certain ways, nothing's perfect here, but I can assure you, we are some of the luckiest and freest people that have ever lived.
I will certainly agree that there is a great amount of blessedness to what we're able to do as compared to other countries like North Korea and China that are completely and totally locked down upon freedom of expression. Yeah, I mean, exactly. For God's sakes, the Chinese just outlawed Peppa.
Peppa Pig.
Well, yeah, but I mean, that's obviously like a really horrible piece of censorship law for the government to do that. But I'm not going to cry salt tears for Peppa Pig being taken off the air, because that show was shit.
No. You see, this is something that actually I want to talk about. If you're gonna go there.
Well,
I don't know if you're high enough.
The British said they said it caused autism. How can a TV show cause autism?
I don't know.
Dude, Married with Children caused autism.
That Peppa Pig is a silly show. It has horrible fucking artwork, but it don't cause autism. It just cracks me up. It's like every parent wants to blame something on something, so they just look for the stupidest thing they don't like, and they say, "Oh, this is the reason."
Well, but I mean, I think it's, and I will never use the slippery slope argument, but it's always, if you're willing, what's the old Jefferson quote? The one, people who are willing to give up liberty for safety deserve neither.
Yeah, it's pretty close, but yeah. If you're willing to give up,
dude, I'm almost a full pint in, so I'm pretty good with the misquotes. Dead air. We hate dead air.
Yep. Yeah, my bad. I was typing.
But as far as it goes with. And I'm just trying to use relativism here. What do you think? Let's put the power of the parliament in your hands, Kevin. What would you do in order to make sure to assure freedom of expression, freedom of speech, without the infringement upon any type of race, color, or creed?
Well, I happen to like the American First Amendment. I think it's actually a really good thing. But we don't have. Not only do we not have the Bill of Rights in Britain, but we don't actually really have a constitution as such. So it's difficult to have that. We'd have to have. Like, you'd have to actually really pass some laws and stuff. But I'd like that to be introduced here, definitely, because I think it just makes it more solid. Like, we have freedom of speech here anyway. It's just it's more nuanced, or it's more open to interpretation in certain areas. Whereas if you just have the government can't infringe on your shit written into the law directly like that, that would be better, I think.
Yeah.
So, I mean, would you go as far as saying that hate speech is free speech?
This is a hard question for you, especially of your YouTube career. Look,
the fact that I'm here talking to you, the fact that I've talked to Richard Spencer and
hold on, no, stop right now. I am not anywhere close to fucking that faggot.
No, of course you're not. No.
You're trying to throw me way into a different pit there.
No. I'm not for a second trying to compare you with Richard Spencer. I'm just saying the fact that you're on the other side, the fact that I've talked to people like Richard Spencer, who's even way further on the other side, and Mike Enoch, who's similarly with Spencer and that. Right,
yeah, he's ridiculous.
Oh, God.
Mike Enoch's the fucking worst.
Yeah, he's fucking scum. The fact that I'm prepared to
I'll say it out loud right now. Anybody who fucking listening to this, I want Mike Enoch. He's a fucking worthless wannabe alt-right bullshitter. He's just a shill. Why would you want to say kill all the Jews when you're married to a Jew? That's just,
hey, Sisyphus, did I mention the fact that we've got Mike Enoch booked in June?
He's gonna die. actually, no. We don't have. What's his real name? Senovich or something? would he be upset if I called him Senovich his whole the whole interview? Called him by his real name.
His name's Herschel Goldstein.
Yeah, it is some fucking Jewish bullshit fucking.
But anyway,
by the way,
it's not that I have any problem here. I want to go ahead and say this to you again. It's not that I have any problem with the Jews. I actually love the Jews. Of all the Nazis I like, the Eskenazis are my favorite. But my thing is, if you're going to be hardcore, then you better be hardcore. When I was a kid, I used to consider myself an elitist asshole. That's the way that's who I am. I'm an elitist asshole. To where
the point I was trying to make was that the fact that I'm prepared to talk to people on the other side shows that I don't pander to people who I think are on my side for YouTube views. If they don't want to watch me because I have a different opinion, fine. That's a shame, but whatever. I'm not going to pander to people. Is the point?
Yeah, that's why I kept asking you.
When I stuttered over the start of my answer, it wasn't that I'm trying to calculate. Oh, will this annoy my fan base? It's because I have issues. It's because I genuinely, on the surface of it, I think, yeah, you should be able to say hateful shit and be called out for it and shown for the cunt that you are.
Well,
when you see Nazis doing their thing, it rubs me up the wrong way, because these people are not doing it for any good reason. They're doing it because they want to organise genocide, and that's not a good situation.
Well, and literally echo chambers do not advance discussion. If you get somebody with an acidic point of view, not Hasidic, but acidic, if you expose them, sunlight is the greatest disinfectant. And by the way, I just wanted to make sure and say hi to a couple people in the chat. Of course, hello, Wicked Heart, and Jessica H. And I think Miss Steen needs herself a wrench.
No, well, I just want to say fuck you to everyone in the chat.
They haven't said anything bad to you. Not one word bad to you. Jeez Louise.
Well, and we And we will have the question and answer session coming up in just a couple minutes. So we'd appreciate anybody in the chat to get their questions ready.
Yeah, if we could move on to the Q&A soonish, because, I mean, we've been going for about an hour now, and it's like 2:15 in the morning, so I'm not trying to rush anyone through, but I don't want to hang around too much longer. That's okay.
Yeah, that's why I was pushing the pram.
Cool.
So, if I were to ask any question of Kevin Logan, it would be, how could somebody be so tribal in some senses, but disregard tribalism in other senses? And that comes to you being a hardcore sports fan, you know, that's pure tribalism. Yeah. But yet disregarding tribalism when it comes to population.
Well, like I say, I can. This isn't an active decision I've made on my part, but I think from my own psychoanalyzing myself, what I think has happened is that I've substituted sports tribalism for that innate tribalism that you feel in that. I know I understand where sort of like racists come from. I understand what that mindset is. It's just that I'm able to use it or to fulfill that mental need through sports, which is an entirely not hate free, but like it's not. You're never going to go to war over sports. I mean, you might have the odd riot, but you're never going to start slaughtering people because of sport.
It'll basically go over whenever everybody gets tired. I mean, if something does happen between a sports team, once people get tired, it's over. It's not conquering territory. I understand what you're saying.
Exactly. You're not gonna have like a sports-based genocide. Whereas with like race or religion or ethnicity, nationality, those things, if you're going to be tribal about that, we've seen that can and does lead to those things. And so I think in general it's good that sport, and not just sport, but kind of culture, I suppose, has fulfilled that role for me, because that's still a part of, like, I'm still, you know, a red-blooded man and all of that. I'm still a person who has those innate roles that need to be filled, those kind of mental or psychological necessities, because I'm a human being. But it's good that I'm able to channel them into something more positive, or at least something benign like sport, rather than into something potentially dangerous like, you know, nationalism or something.
So if I'm following correctly, what you were saying is that humans have natural needs, tribalism being one, and if they choose to take that into a place that does not go past cultural lines, I guess is the best place, best way to do it, then it's okay.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, it's not. It's the thing. It's not. None of it's inherently bad in the sense that it's just a natural thing. You can't choose to be tribal or not be tribal. You can't choose to be any number of things. You just are. It's part of your makeup. It literally is. It's one of the reasons that our species survived as opposed to some other species. It's part of what we do. It's part of who we are. And I've not chosen to put sport into that role. It's just sort of happened that way.
And so you just made me feel really, really good. So me being a guy that only wants to be with white women and chooses, doesn't like cause any problems, and make sure to marry a white woman and have white babies is not inherently wrong, is what you're saying. It's just, it's not inherently wrong as long as you're not trying to go against somebody.
Well, yeah, you're not. You can't choose who you're attracted to first and foremost. That's again, no one chooses to be straight or gay or attracted to white people or black people or tall people, thin people.
Dude, okay, yes, thank you, Kevin. I'm glad you said that. So like whenever people say, you know, oh, it's racist that you're not attracted to a black woman, it's not actually racist, right? I mean, what your wiener does is what your wiener does. It's not.
You can't exactly. Yeah, your dick tells you who you're attracted to. It's not.
Hey,
That's not.
thank you. All right, man. I knew I liked you for a reason.
Well, thank you. Yes. So it's not racist in that sense. And if you want to marry a white person and have white kids, that's fine. It's as long as you don't therefore say, well, because I'm not attracted to black people, therefore they're lesser or they're not really people or whatever, which is where the kind of Nazis go with it. Like I say, you can't choose to want to fuck white people or black people, but you can choose how you act towards other people who you don't want to fuck.
Thank you. That is a very, very good way of putting it, and I would put it exactly the same way, and I'm on the opposite side of the aisle. That's exactly the way I look at it, is as long as you're not, you can like who you like, but nobody's less than.
Okay.
It's not saying they're less than because you don't like them.
Let me just drop a knowledge bomb on you because I'm older than both of you put together.
Wow,
Booty is booty.
Get in the coffin already, you old bastard. What the fuck's wrong with you? Choking up the world with your dusty bones. Not exciting. No, I was just going to say, to add a caveat to that as well, is that just as you can't choose who you're attracted to, no one else can. So even if you are only attracted to white people, to say to, like, I don't know, let's say a white woman who's fucking a black dude or whatever, to say that, oh, well, that's disgusting or whatever, is wrong as well, because they don't choose that either. And it's not up to you who someone else fucks.
Yeah. But I'm going to guess that you've never used the phrase coal burner.
I've never even heard of the phrase coal. Well,
Coal burner is an all-right term used for a white girl that fucks around with black boys. And in the alt-right realm is once you're a coal burner, then you've lost respect.
Oh, okay. So it's like putting coal into your. Oh, okay. I see.
Yeah,
I see.
The whole Lauren Southern, like you heard about that, right?
Yeah, that was a crazy one.
That was silly. The silliest fucking thing I've ever heard of.
This is the thing, right? Like I say, I'm totally against people telling other people who to fuck and who not to fuck. If you want to fuck a brown person, go for it. But the thing with Lauren Southern is she sort of courted that crowd. When you court that crowd and they turn on you when they find something they don't like, I can't help but say tough shit. You made your bed, you lie in it.
I agree with you. I 100% agree with you. And it comes back to what I was saying earlier. If you're going to be the tough guy, if you're going to be the white nationalist, if you're going to be that dude, then you better have your fucking P's and Q's fucking in line. My stepdad was AB, Aryan Brotherhood, and he don't like it was not just what you seen on memes. Like, he was hardcore. Like, it was ridiculous. It was fucking absolutely ridiculous, and it really taught me.
This was your dad that did this?
My stepdad.
Oh, okay, cool.
But yeah, he was my dad, yeah. And like one of the first things he taught me was, if somebody hurts you on the inside, you're allowed to hurt them on the outside.
Ooh, fucking.
Now, yeah, back in the fucking 80s, whenever I grew up, fighting wasn't a big deal, but now fighting is a huge deal. You go to prison over fighting, so like that mentality is silly.
I'm a bit younger than you, but even when I was growing up, fighting wasn't that big a deal. But you just had a fight and you got on with your fucking life. It wasn't like there is some, I don't know, and I don't want to play like the conservative bullshit kind of like, oh, they're too weak nowadays, blah blah blah, because I think that's overdone and overplayed. But there is certainly there's a certain something to that, in the sense that, like I say, fighting was just an accepted part of like growing up and life and stuff when I was a kid, whereas now it's seen as like there's some big great taboo about it.
Yeah. Well, so let's go ahead and ask that, Kevin. When was the first time you got your ass beat? Like, what age?
Oh, I don't know, like 6, 7 maybe.
Okay, all right. Yeah, that's kind of the way I am about it. It's like,
well, here's my big thing. I just want to make sure before we get into the Q&A session that what do you think, Kevin, is the biggest problem that's going on with the global society?
That's one hell of a question.
Yeah, that is a big question. It might sound a bit vague, but stupidity is the problem. It's people thinking they know things and they don't know shit. Like they haven't looked into it, they haven't researched it, they have no idea what they're talking about, but yet they'll talk with such. And I think, and I don't know how you feel about your president or whatever, but from my perspective, he is the encapsulation of it. That he talks with such confidence about things he clearly doesn't understand. And that's
here's one side of it, and he fucking goes at it like it's 100%. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Like, it's mad because like if it's just some dickhead on the internet, okay, who cares? It's 200 people are going to watch him, and that's that.
Hey, my dad had dementia when he was 70, so I'm not necessarily trusting what Trump is saying.
Like he's full of shit. He's full of shit, the guy, and it's dangerous because he's got like nuclear codes and.
Nah, he don't have no nuclear codes. That ain't shit. That shit's not happening. But the big thing about Trump is here's my thing on Trump, and you can go ahead and clip it. He's a fucking New Yorker, and he acts like a New Yorker, and that's the way New Yorkers act. Is I know what the fuck's going on. You're not gonna tell me what's going on because I already know what's going on. And if you're gonna tell me what's going on, I'm gonna tell you what's wrong because I already know what's going on. And that's just the average big time New Yorker's attitude. It's just
yeah. With the nuclear codes, it's not that I'm saying he's going to use them. It's the power that comes along with that. That every nation around the world knows he could use them if he wanted to. Like they're there, and that has a big fucking weight behind it. That's why America's one of the most powerful nations because it's got enough weapons to fucking turn you into dust within seconds. And that's a powerful fucking motivator for countries to behave and shit. So he has a lot of power behind him, and he's acting on information that he doesn't understand.
And let me just make sure and plug before we go into Q&A that we have in the description, we've got Kevin Logan's Twitter. We also have his YouTube channel. So if you're looking to get a little bit more perspective, please feel free and click on those links. Take a look. Take a listen and see what you think. Draw your own conclusions because with Rolling for Sisyphus, we definitely are not looking to push the agenda one way or the other. We're looking to understand those people who are making an impact currently, especially on YouTube when, basically it's a lot of monkeys pulling shit from their ass and flinging it. We want to make sure that you have your own personal understanding. We're not telling you what to think. We're telling you where to go to figure out what you want to think. And Kevin Logan is certainly, he is a polarizing entity, but one that definitely has a voice and you should listen to when you're doing consideration.
Call me a cunt. You don't have to be polite. Call me a prick. That's fine. I've no problem. I like that. He's a polarizing figure. Or the other one I get is he's controversial. Just call me a cunt. It's fine.
No, I don't think you're controversial at all. I think you're
a boring cunt. Brilliant. Yeah.
Fair enough. That works for me. You haven't watched any of my videos, so you really actually have no idea. But anyway, I think that you're not controversial. You are almost boilerplate with the tough guy persona. It kind of cracks me up that you have this tough guy persona. It kind of makes me wonder at what point in your life did you decide that you were done being bullied and you were going to be the bully?
Oh, I'm not a fucking bully. Don't be silly.
No, not in that sense. Not that sense that you pick on people. In the sense that you said, okay. Did you play sports in high school?
Yeah, absolutely. I played I was about to say football, but soccer, let's say, and cricket. Yeah.
Were you varsity?
I do. Yeah, but that doesn't mean anything in Britain. Because no one watches. Like, it's not a big deal here. But
no, it's not about watching. It's about the achievement. It's about that you did something to make you a higher level in that sport. No, it's not about
because it's not a big deal. The way you get
We lost you.
Sorry. Hello?
Hey, I hear you.
Yeah, sorry, yeah. The way you get into professional sports is not through varsity sports. So the best sports people aren't at varsity level. So making varsity sports teams in Britain doesn't mean the same as it does in America. Like it's not actually really that high a level, to be honest. So it's like
Oh no. Varsity high school is nothing like everybody's got, but it's just the idea of beating somebody.
I won I was part of the Solihull under-16s cricket champion team, which was pretty cool. That was like the only really sports trophy I ever won. But that was pretty cool. Like that was nice. We got to play like a proper stadium. It was fucking awesome.
Now,
well, in my adult years, I actually won the award for the person who could suck their own dick.
did you make it to completion?
No, I don't think that was the actual point. I think it was just wowing the strippers that were around.
Fair enough. Now, it comes down to, like, I watch your videos, Kevin. I really like them. I think that you have a very good viewpoint on the opposite side, but I don't think you're a prick. I just really want I don't know where I want to know where the point is, because everything in your background says you should be right. Like what I've looked at, something made you. I don't know if it's a loss. I don't know if it's a.
What about my past that you're aware of makes you think I should be on the right? Just out of interest. I'm not saying you're even wrong. I'm just out of curiosity.
You are very tribal in almost every sense of every way. Whenever you get on somebody's side, you are willing to go at bat with them. I have not yet see you, and I've watched plenty of your videos to where you say, this person I took on and now they're wrong. Like, I've never seen that. I've never seen you say...
That has happened, I assure you. There's a woman called Jenny McDermott, who you may or may not have heard of.
Yeah.
I haven't.
I know.
I was friends with her for a while, and she turned out to be a fucking idiot. The reason we fell out in the end was I told her a piece of gossip in private about there was a rumour going around that Siobhan Head had gotten with Armoured Skeptic back when she was a kid, like when she was 16 or something. And I told her that, and just like a private message on Facebook. And she went on to accuse Armoured Skeptic of being a pedophile, like in a video, which obviously got flagged down because, you can't just accuse people of being fucking kiddie fuckers.
Yeah, and she was involved in the video, or she was involved in it too, so wouldn't she know if there was a pedophile?
Well, you would think so, but regardless of even the rightness or wrongness of it, the fact that she tried to throw me under the bus and say, oh, well, Kevin Logan said this thing. And I said, well, I told you a thing in private. I didn't think you would go and make a fucking video accusing someone of a felony for which they could be put in prison, you stupid fucking idiot. And so I called her out on that and said, no, you're out of order. And actually, one of the nicest things was when Armoured Skeptic a few months later said thank you to me on Twitter and said, I appreciated your support during that. I thought that was actually really nice, because he could have just said, you're a cunt, and left it. And I couldn't have really complained, because when you gossip about someone, and it backfires in that way, you kind of think, well, a bit silly. But the fact that I called out, like you said, I don't call out people I agreed with or whatever, but I do. If they're definitely wrong. But there's a difference between being blinkered and being loyal. If you show me loyalty, I'll show you loyalty.
That's fair enough. So would you consider what I'm doing just showing you loyalty? I mean, like, I'm not
I don't know you well enough, because we've talked a little bit on Twitter, haven't we, on DM, and obviously tonight. And it takes obviously quite a while to build up friendship or whatever. But I haven't seen you be disloyal, so that's fine. But I don't know you well enough to consider you to be loyal or disloyal. But it started well, if nothing else.
All right, fair enough.
Well, I tell you what, before we jump into the question and answer session, I did want to do one thing, a little bit of word association. I'll give you some names, and first thing that pops into your head, let me know what you think about this person.
Okay.
Are you ready?
Yes.
Okay. Jeff Holiday.
Oh, Oh, just a dick. Like, he's not an evil man. He's just a dick.
That's a good way to. Awesome.
Christy Winters.
Awesome. I like Krista.
Bering.
Dick.
Worski. Ask him Worski.
Adam Worski.
Idiot. Just
Yeah,
a simpleton.
Fair enough.
and on the flip side, JF Garepre.
Rapist.
Nick Fuentes.
The funniest white nationalist surname ever. Yeah.
Nice.
I fucking hate Fuentes.
Like he's really odd, isn't it? That like if in the ethno state you've got people like Fuentes. I don't know anyone with a name as exotic as Fuentes.
Yeah, I'm supporting an ethno state, but I'm not allowed in.
Ridiculous. Like
it's absolutely fucking ridiculous. You're 100% right.
Sargon of Akkad.
So before we even get into that, I just want to say, if they set up the ethno state in America, right, he would be kicked out, but I'd be allowed the right of return because I'm actually white. So I'd be allowed in his country and he wouldn't. That's amazing.
True.
Technically, if the ethno state would happen, it would be American citizens, but yeah, neither here nor there.
No, they've said all white people around the world would have a right of return to the white ethno state.
Oh, that's retarded. The ethno state, or well, actually, I'm a firm disbeliever in the ethno state because it's fucking stupid.
Yeah, well, of course it fucking is. Yeah,
but
I just believe in the Wrenchna state.
Here's my big thing: is I'm an American. I'm a firm nationalist, I guess you'd call it. I do not want to separate America, no matter what. And Andrew Jackson, in I want to say 1845, said the best quote, and he said it to John C. Calhoun, the senator of South Carolina, and he said, "If you secede from my union, I will secede your head from your body." And that just, and here 20 years later, Calhoun did secede, but they had a guy like Andrew Jackson, who was, in my opinion, was a fucking piece of shit. I mean, Andrew Jackson was the croniest of guys.
God damn it, that's hate speech.
He was a croniest, man. He got all his friends in every fucking office. But anyway,
whenever I hear, although to be fair, a lot of presidents do that, so that's not unique to Jackson. But anyway, whenever I hear an American talk about secession, I want to bring up a picture of Georgia, of Atlanta after it had been burnt to the ground.
Oh,
did you see what happened last time you tried this? This argument is being settled. Shut up.
Yeah.
Simple.
It's ridiculous. And then now the Californians are talking about succession.
Oh, well, that's exactly. It's so dumb.
But they want to.
It's like, I mean, I don't agree with like the concept of virtue signaling because I think often that's just like a really sneery piece of shit. But when they talk about secession, whether it be Texas from the right or California from the left or whatever, it is kind of virtue signaling because they know it's never going to happen. They're just trying to protest for the sake of it, and you think, shut up, you're not going to do it. So
and it's absolutely ridiculous in the sense that if, let's just say California did secede, it would 100% secure that the rest of America is owned by, I mean, probably hardened right wing. Let's just put it out there. If California would secede, you better believe there'd be some hardened fucking right wing guys that show up. And they don't have those fucking electoral votes. They don't have anything. Now all of a sudden you got a hard right wing guy.
Well, it's not going to happen. And what I would hope would happen, regardless of who was president, is that the federal troops would turn up the next day and say, "You're going nowhere."
Well, that's the crazy thing. They think they can just rent out all the bases in California to the government and not even have a standing army. I mean, it's so silly when you just read it through. It's just the absolutely silliest shit.
Like the federal government is just going to give up that amount of Pacific coastline and the naval bases and stuff. It's not going to happen.
Oh no, they're going to rent it out. We're going to pay California to keep our people there.
Well, yeah, of course they are. Yeah. California would secede on Monday, and by Tuesday afternoon, the federal troops would be occupying LA. It would be ridiculous.
Well, here's the funny thing is like I want to say what 6 months ago, whenever all this shit happened, whenever Trump started blowing up and everybody's like, oh, we're gonna secede. Next thing you know, all those fucking wildfires happened. Then all of a sudden, you didn't hear about any secession. You didn't hear anybody. Oh shit! Save us! Our state's on fire. Please save us.
Well, exactly. But it happens all the time. You get like a tornado in Oklahoma, and all of a sudden, the small government people are like, "Oh, save Oklahoma! We need to say, hang on a minute. You were saying you need to cut the government back to the bone. You don't want any public spending. Oh, except when your state's fucked. Like,
Wow.
just this is the thing. The America has this weird relationship where it seems to hate each state. It seems to hate being a part of America until they absolutely need the federal government, and then all of a sudden they're like, really patriotic. It's ridiculous. Stop it.
Well, yeah, because the moment that
I
California
actually like talking to you. This is awesome.
the moment California tries to secede, we shut off access to the Colorado River. Their number one source of profit, which is agriculture, dies.
It's hit. Yeah,
What-
they think they can just fucking have. Yeah, it's so silly. It's like,
It's not just agriculture, but I mean, LA would die of thirst within hours.
oh
Well, and already they've shown within the past 2 years that the high-powered people who work in electronics and computer software, they've already started looking to other places to move. And
Oregon,
I mean,
Washington.
yeah,
Idaho.
I mean the only thing that they would have left at that point would be the entertainment industry, which would also leave, and the agricultural industry, which we can deal without avocados.
Yeah, avocados go pretty good in Florida.
The West was built on avocados. That's a silly thing to say.
Okay, well, let's go ahead and jump in. There are a few questions here.
Okay.
The first is by Papa Smurf 010. Is this stream approved by the Delmarva faction?
What in the fuck is that?
I have no clue.
I don't either, but I'm drunk enough to read it. And Dolce Terra TV asks,
I'm sorry, I'm just going to say yes, it's approved by whatever the fuck that is.
Yes, yes, we got approval.
and not only does Dolce Terra TV need a wrench, but she has asked, what's your favorite pie flavor?
That's actually a good question.
Are we talking savory or sweet?
That
You're
is
English.
completely up
You're
to
English.
you.
Sweet.
Sweet. Okay. Oh wow, cheesecake.
Cheesecake is like New York. Oh well, you probably don't even call it New York cheesesteak or cheesecake. Has it got cherries on it?
No, I'm not a heathen. It's in the Bible. You're not allowed cherries on cheesecake, motherfuckers. It's like it's number 11 on the list.
So you just like the straight up cheesecake. That's awesome.
Right, cheesecake, yeah, definitely.
Cheesecake isn't a pie, in my opinion.
Again, read the Bible. It's in there, definitely.
And of course, the question I ask everyone is, if you are a professional wrestler and you're walking to the ring, what music is playing you to the ring?
Well, firstly, I don't like the implication involved in if you're a wrestler. What about if I already am a wrestler? You don't know. You haven't even asked me that question.
You are already a professional wrestler. You are about to walk in to your title match. What is the music you walk into?
I Want to Fuck a Dog by Blink 182.
Fucking Blink. You brought the most obscure. Fair enough.
Well,
Fair
and
enough,
it's much
fucking
better than someone who answered, I want to take you to a gay bar.
That's.
Electric Six, love it. Imagine that. Imagine me wrestling that person. The two intros would be fucking epic. I mean, no one would be watching. They'd have all turned off. But you know.
So I'm gonna go ahead and ask this question now that you kind of showed your colors a little bit. No effects, good or bad? Kevin?
Hello?
No effects. The band No Effects.
Yeah.
Good or bad?
Shit.
Good. Yeah.
Pennywise.
Shit.
Ooh, I've heard of them, but I can't say I know much of their stuff.
All right. You really surprised me by busting out with Blink-182 songs. So I'm one of those guys that's like.
Well, I mean, obviously that's the joke, but I'd actually really liked Blink-182 back in the day. Were one of my favorite bands.
Yeah, me and you are around the same age, so it kind of cracked me up that you were using like. I kind of wanted to see where you're going with, because Blink-182 was mainstream, so I kind of wanted to see how deep you got in the rabbit hole of the punk rock movement. But
well, I was more into in terms of my actual proper hardcore punk stuff. There would be British bands that you would have never heard of.
Bullshit. Try me.
The what is it called? The Slits.
The Slits?
Yeah.
That's like late 70s, early 80s.
No. That was I suppose technically it's the same name, isn't it? But it was spelled with a Z at the end, and they were an underground punk band here in Britain in like the 2000s.
Yeah, you got me. You got me.
Well, that's the thing. Like, I'm just going to mention bands that you've never heard of, because they played like in my town for about 5 years and then split up. So it's like in terms of acts I've heard of, there are probably quite a few in America that I was. The Movie Life were quite good back in the day.
Well, the deepest that I ever go with British is XTC.
XTC is a good band.
Yeah.
I think my favorite British band, and this is gonna be super silly and old school. It's not even punk, but The Animals. The Animals is my favorite British band, just because
absolutely
their songs are just so, I don't know, like in a time whenever.
I love some of that 60s and 70s stuff, like the Kinks and things like that.
Oh yeah. I'm music is my jam. But yeah, I really like.
Miss Steen has requested Chumbawamba.
Chumbawamba.
Well, one thing I know about Chumbawamba, I mean, it's odd that they would request that because they were a really leftist band. But I know the name Chumbawamba came from an experiment that was done. You know, the theory that if a monkey typing away forever can type like the entire works of Shakespeare.
Yeah. If you had 1,000 monkeys typing, they would. Yeah,
and they did like an experiment of them doing it for like a week or something. I don't know quite why, because that's not the point of it. But apparently one of the things it typed was Chumbawamba, and they decided to call the band that. So there you go. That's my piece of.
We've learned something today.
Well, Sisyphus, did you look into the DMs that I sent you?
The side chat?
Yeah.
Hang on, is there secret conversation taking place?
No, just the side chat and the Hangouts.
Oh yeah, okay.
And I do want to make sure, because we're getting ready to wrap this up. Kevin, I know we've got your Twitter linked up. We've got your YouTube linked up. Is there anything else that you'd like to promote?
I'd like to promote peace and harmony between all peoples, because I'm a fucking dirty hippie. I don't know.
Gosh dang it.
Wait a minute. If you're truly a dirty hippie, do you smell like patchouli?
No, I smell. It's been hot here today, so I smell like fucking dirty old balls, frankly.
Patchouli is just
dirty
weed.
Old balls.
Patchouli is just weed and Listerine. That's how you make patchouli. You just smoke some weed and fucking Listerine.
When I say I'm a hippie, I don't literally mean that. Hippies annoy me. I don't have
We know.
When people say that to me, like what have you got to plug? Well, I don't know. My fucking butthole, I suppose. I don't know. I've got nothing to plug.
Believe it or not, we're trying to actually grow a show, Kevin. You know, like actually, maybe one day we'll be like Joe Rogan or some nonsense. So when we're asking you to plug, it's not that we're trying to like be silly. It's something that we got to try to just incorporate over and over, so we do it naturally.
And that question is nothing that we ever asked Jeff Holiday, because we already know it's plugged.
Again, like, all I can say with Jeff is like some of his videos are okay in that, and he's not like an evil person. He's just, oh God, he's just.
Well, tune in next week because his Dr. Phil is going to be airing.
He's absolutely ridiculous. It's just a fucking, I don't know.
Did you see the Kilroy thing fiasco?
Oh God,
his Kilroy thing or all the other Kilroy things?
Well, the Kilroy thing that actually happened in Arizona, they actually had an event.
Yeah, okay, all right.
Virtually no one turned up. It was brilliant.
Yeah, I'm not gonna say I was on the inside, but I kayfabed out everything that Toad and Scrub were doing because they said that they were there and they weren't actually there. But there was a point where Jeff had his 360 camera going, oh yeah, they're here. They're here. I know they're here.
Well, yeah, I just laughed at them because when you're speaking to a half-empty room full of, well, not full of, half full of idiots. Well, I don't. It's just it was always going to be a disaster, and it was brilliant.
The thing that made me laugh the most was when somebody was asking a question and they went to do a follow-up. They're like, no, we would need to get everybody else to ask a question. And it's like 8 people in the damn room.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I felt so sorry for...
They were told. Based Mama was told, you don't have the expertise to do this. You're a fucking... That's the thing. You can be a chancer on the internet and get away with it because ultimately there are no real repercussions. But when you're actually putting on a real event in the real world and people turn up, that's either going to be a success or people are going to see that you're a fucking chancer.
Well, and she was also trying to propagate the Kilroy name to be franchised. And I mean, literally, she did everything completely counter to what you need to do to franchise something.
Yeah, that's it seems utterly plausible with the rest of her approach to it. If you half-ass it, people will notice.
Well, and plus, if you basically have a setup, I mean, the thing that hurt me the most was Christina Hoff Sommers. She has some brilliant things to say, especially about the parallels between the stages of feminism. And there were only 10 people there, and 2 of them were conscious.
Well, I disagree with you on Christina Hoff Sommers, but what I will agree with you on is that it seemed like that was an event beneath her level. I don't know why she stooped to go to that event. Like she can draw crowds and stuff usually if it's an actual event, whereas she went to this thing.
Yeah, most certainly. Like that was definitely punching down for her.
Yeah,
well, no, I think the funniest thing is that when they were saying, "Oh yeah, we're paying all these thousands of dollars to speakers and blah blah blah," and she just came out with a tweet that said, "They only pay me $2,000."
Exactly. Yeah, for her, she probably does get 10,000, 20,000.
Oh yeah, I mean she's big time.
Yeah.
I mean, she's. I don't know of any other woman as high as her that's so against third wave feminism as she is.
You probably got someone like Ann Coulter who has like a bigger cachet, probably.
But Ann Coulter she's against feminism in general. While Christina Hoff Sommers is like, she's totally for the first wave of feminism. Like she really feels that feminism did its job, and now it's just and this is my own opinion, don't write her and say this is what she said. But she really believes that like it's just I don't know. It's like, okay, we got what we want, now we got more, or we want more. I guess I hate to say it that way, but
no, that's cool. Yeah, it just seems strange to me. Like I say, it seems strange that that she would want to weaken her brand in the way that she did with this.
Yeah, she definitely didn't help her brand showing up at Kilroy.
Yeah, absolutely. And like she said, if they're only paying her like a fraction of what she usually gets anyway, then really, what was the point? Like, if she was getting paid $1 million to be there, that would make sense at least. But she weakened her brand and got paid next to nothing by comparison to what she usually gets.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, if you're going to pay me 10% of what I fucking usually do, I'm going to go give you 10% of what I'm worth.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. I'm going to go give you 10% of my usual hour's speech, yeah.
Yeah. Why should you... That's capitalism in its finest. All right, so you see me put it in the tweet. You gonna do some karaoke with us?
I suppose. I mean, I don't know how that's gonna work. Like because there's usually like a half a second delay, and I've tried singing like with.
Yeah, it's probably gonna be fucked up. So what we're gonna do? Oh, gosh, how's this gonna work? I'm trying to figure it out to make it work better, but as of right now, we're kind of... He sent me the link.
Well, we'll give it a go, and if it's terrible, that will be funny at least.
Yeah, fuck it. All right, so you got the link, correct?
Do I?
It's in the side chat.
Sorry, I am also watching baseball as I'm doing this, so...
Oh.
Well, no, to be fair, it's Red Sox Yankees. I mean, and actually, I can't wait for next year because they're having 2 regular season games.
There's like 12 fucking games into it, brother.
Yeah, but at Wembley Stadium, so I get to actually go and watch it. Which is cool.
Oh, okay, yeah, in Wembley Stadium. But what I'm saying is, right now it's like 12 games into it. There's still 160 left. You'd be all right to sing along Chumbawamba.
I'm always okay to sing along with Chumbawamba, absolutely.
Of course, this is by request from our chat. Thank you very much, Miss Steam, and we're going to do a little Chumbawamba for you.
Okay, let's see how this works.
Tell me when you hit play.
It's playing right now. It should be in the screen. Should be in the little side channel on OBS. We'll be singing when we're winning. We'll be singing when we're winning. I get knocked down, but I get up again. You're never gonna keep me down. I get knocked down, but I get up again.
I get up again. You're never gonna keep me down. Get on down. I get up again. You're never gonna keep me down. I get knocked down, but I get up again. You're never gonna keep me down.
Alright, it's over. I gotta figure this shit out. I gotta figure out how to get karaoke, because this is a great idea. I just haven't figured out how to implement it.
It's a lot of fun. I don't know if.
Oh, no! I help it! Never get me down!
Oh.
This is another way.
Calm down, Doc. It's over.
This is another way. He did the wicked. He did the fucking.
Take a drink, Doc. All right. So this is the end of the show. I am so happy that Mr. Kevin Logan showed up and talked to him. Kevin,
I'm slightly surprised that a man called Sisyphus would be so happy, because if you're rolling that rock up a hill forever, you'd think that would get to you eventually, but you seem rather chipper.
you're gonna get me on my harp. You're gonna get me on my harp. Apparently, you have not read. I'm gonna do a hardcore Indianan style. Apparently, you have not read Albert Camus. But Camus, if you read it, Albert Camus, he's who I have all my philosophy off of. And if you one of his lines are, how's it go? As the boulder returns to its place, one must imagine Sisyphus is happy.
Well, yeah, but it's okay imagining shit, but I guess he wasn't, because he's going to have to do it again.
Nah, see, here it is. All right, so I'll go and get into it with you. So Camus, I'll go and get into my own life. I am a factory worker. I work 12 hours a day. I go home and hopefully fuck my wife 3 out of 4 fucking days out of the week, and I just do it over and over and over. So should I just be upset with my life and say, oh, this is my life, it's over, I'm going to be doing this exact same thing over and over and over and over and over and over and over forever because this is the way the world is? Or should I go and say, you know what I'm doing amounts to something more important, amounts more to something more important in my life directly, because I know I am doing something that helps philosophy, and me being the piece of shit I am, it helps my race, it helps my lineage. Actually, it's not my race, it's my lineage. I care about my lineage. I don't care about my race. I care about my lineage. I want the Spurlock name, I want the Sisyphus name to go forever.
But that's the difference, right? Practically, your life is very different to that of Sisyphus, isn't it? And I know, obviously, it's not Sisyphus' story isn't real; it's like an allegory or whatever. But the point about Sisyphus is that if you take the story literally, which was the joke I was making of rolling up a hill forever, that's very different to what you do in your life. Like Sisyphus, at no point Sisyphus doesn't roll the rock up the hill and it rolls back down and he gets to fuck his wife afterwards. He just has to go and roll the fucking rock again.
But that is part of Camus. Honestly, read the Myth of Sisyphus by Albert Camus.
I may well do, but I'm annoyed because he sounds French, so instantly I'm put off by him. But second, because as an Englishman, you can't deign to read French people's work. It's not good enough.
He's an Algerian. Does that help?
That's a bit French. It's a little bit French.
Even if he's an Algerian Frenchman, it is cringe. Damn, Logan, motherfucker! You're sitting there giving me a hard time about jeez, you're giving me a hard time about Frenchmen.
Well, like Canadians, they're a bit French. You know what I mean?
I don't like Canadians. I don't like the French Canadians. Those boys over in British Columbia, they're all right as long as they understand that their prime minister is Castro's son. That's all I want him to admit.
Can I just interject very quickly?
No.
That there's a lot of people talking about Cinco de Mayo and being proud about their Mexican heritage. And I came back and got a lot of flack for saying, oh, you beat the French. Great. So did everybody else.
Exactly. Beating the French is like the participation trophy of history. Nothing.
Say that to the fucking third coalition. Say that to the fourth coalition. Say that. But anyway, now seriously, Kevin, it really does. It kind of cracks me up that you don't understand. You don't understand that of what Camus writes about the factory worker. You know that.
Well, if he hasn't read it, how can he understand it? Goddamn.
I'm joking about Sisyphus anyway.
Okay.
It's not that I don't understand it. It's just
Okay. I need to get this in before we go off air. And certainly we would like to thank Kevin Logan for stopping by today. And I think we got a different perspective. This isn't just the I'm fighting to fight. This is a little bit about the man, the myth. And coming up next Tuesday is going to be Otis Gyrie. He is a voiceover artist and has also been described as the white Morgan Freeman. On the 22nd, we're going to be talking with Aiden Paladin, which I don't know, Kevin. I don't know if you've ever heard anything about her, but you might want to tune in on that one.
Yeah.
And on the 29th, we have Ian Miles Chong, and I have no idea what he does, but apparently he giggles well.
He does giggle.
He's a living meme of stupidity.
Kevin, you wouldn't say that to Letterman now, would you?
No, because Letterman wasn't. Letterman was like a serious person with a...
But I'm Letterman, damn it. I'm Letterman.
I'm not saying you're stupid. I'm saying...
I'm just fucking with you, man.
Ian Miles Chung is arguably the most stupid human being that has ever not choked to death or something.
But
you know
we're not arguing. That's the thing, is we're...
Kevin, are you a fan of horror movies at all?
I can watch horror movies, but I'm not a massive fan particularly.
Okay, well then I will clue you in. This is the first time we've said it, but on June 12th, we are going to have Harry Manfredini,
yes,
the gentleman who created the score for Friday the 13th.
Oh, wow. That's actually really badass. That's quite a big sort of a get, as they say in the media game.
That's what we're about, Kevin. We're not about trying to blood sport. We're not about trying. We're trying to get people to
That's why I agreed to come on, because you were like, I was chatting before, and you said, like, what do you want to talk about? And I was like, I don't know, whatever, sport. And you went, yeah, let's talk about hockey. And we haven't actually mentioned hockey virtually at all. But the fact that you were agreeable to that made me think, well, I'm not going to go on there, and it's going to be, oh, well, what about this? You know, the black people are stupid by nature. Oh, fuck.
Yeah, this is our show. Literally, is we want to get creators online, pick their brain, see how they got to where they got, and just have the fans enjoy getting those little nuggets of wisdom that they would have never gotten because of all this build up, ramped up IBS. I have to fight you. You have to fight me.
Everybody puffing their goddamn chest whenever most likely, I mean, like me and you, Kevin, we agree on a lot of stuff. There's very little things that we don't agree on, but yet that would be the thing that we sit there and fucking pull each other hair about. I mean, it's just silly.
Yeah, I mean, I know we're getting to the end of the show, and this is possibly a big discussion, but a point that's worth making, and it's a thing that's poisoning certainly British politics and American politics especially, is that just because you disagree on some shit, you're not enemies. You don't need to be enemies about it. You still have to exist in the same place as these other people. So you can disagree without being like hateful fucking people toward one another. That's not productive for anybody.
I'm gonna clip that. That's awesome. That is word of wisdom.
We're not looking to bring people on to rage against the machine. We want to figure out how they got to the point where they want to make a stand.
What I will say is Rage Against the Machine, some good selections there for karaoke in the future. That's it.
We're figuring it out, Kevin. We're figuring it out.
Oh, hell yeah. I'll do Bomb Track next time.
I'm trying to figure it out because with the delay works different on different times, and I'm figuring it out. It's a work in progress. I'm at episode 6. Give me till episode 10, and we'll have karaoke running smooth, where the whole chat can listen to it. Hopefully.
But let's make sure, because we're at the top of the hour. Kevin, is there anything that you'd like to promote? I mean, I know we've got your Twitter, I know we've got your YouTube channel in, But is there anything you'd like to say to put a button on this for us?
Go and check out those links and give me all of your fucking money on the Patreon or something. I don't know. I haven't got a clue. Yeah, just go and check me out. Even if you don't stay around and subscribe, give my videos a little bit of a watch and see. You might just agree with me because I at least I think will be interesting to watch from the perspective of I don't talk in the way that you would imagine like an SJW would talk or whatever. So you can at least relate to the material even if you don't agree with me.
Well, and I think I can say this because I'm somebody who I'm friends with Aiden Paladin. So I came into it not wanting to even give you a half a chance, but that's not what our show is about.
Well, to be fair, with the Aiden Paladin thing.
No, I'm going to get into this. This is something that irritates me because it is something. I agree with you. She was making light, and you called her on it.
Dude, it's fine. It's over, right? We've reached.
Yeah. No, I don't.
And it's water under the bridge, so it's not like I don't hate her. There's no like beef there or anything. You don't need to feel animus toward me based on that.
Yeah, I just think that she was making light, and you called her on it. She was making light about the deaths in Nazi Germany, and you called her on it. That's what I seen. Not that she was saying that there were less deaths or anything else. Is she was trying to make Polish deaths more important to Jewish deaths, and you called her on it. Am I wrong?
I would say I've made my point in the past, and I don't want to give you like the politician's answer, but we've reached like a detente, and I don't want to open up that wound again. So I'll just say, I've made my point known in the past. My feelings haven't changed on that, but in terms of the beef between me and Aiden, that's done. So I won't comment on any of her content for now. Although that's not like forever. It's just for now. I'm just going to leave it be.
And I'll be honest with you, because my whole point is that it wasn't about that. We were not we do not try in any way to go with the muckraking or the exceptional conflicts. No. We want to know, because you've got enough people online. We want those people to know a little bit more about you that they may not have known, and basically dissect the person and what they do, how they do it, and why they do it. And I think you've done a great job of that this evening, and I personally thank you for that.
I do too. And what we will say is that you do consider cheesecake pie, which is weird.
Like I say, if it's good enough for Jesus, it's good enough for Kev.
Hell yeah. So I'm going to go ahead and end this stream. It has been an awesome time. Kevin, if you want to plug something real quick, go ahead.
No, I'm good. I just want to say thank you to both of you for what's actually just been a fun chat. I've enjoyed it.